They had the plan. Gary Payton, the toughest defender, and Shawn Kemp, a dominant force, believed they could stop Michael Jordan. The 1996 NBA Finals wasn't just about a championship, it was a battle of wills. The Seattle SuperSonics had the defense, the confidence, and the determination to take him down. They weren't intimidated, they were ready. But Jordan wasn't just playing for another ring. He was playing for something far greater. And soon, Payton and Kemp would realize that no strategy, no defense, and no amount of confidence could stop what was coming. Michael Jordan had already conquered the basketball world. 3 straight NBA championships, a global icon, the face of the league. He was the best player on the planet, the most dominant force the game had ever seen. And then, just like that, he was gone. The tragic murder of his father in 1993 left him shattered. The man who had inspired his journey, who had been his greatest supporter, was no longer there. The game that had once meant everything to him suddenly felt empty. So, he walked away. He left basketball behind, chasing a new dream in baseball. But no matter how far he tried to run, the fire inside him never truly faded. The world moved on. A new era of players emerged, ready to claim the throne he had vacated. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. Michael Jordan wasn't done. In March 1995, 2 simple words changed everything. I'm back. With that statement, the league braced itself for the return of the most ruthless competitor in sports history. Jordan came back with one goal: redemption. He wasn't just playing for himself anymore. He was playing to honor his father's memory, to reclaim his legacy, and to remind the world that he was still the greatest. But this wasn't the same NBA he had left behind. The league had evolved. New stars had risen. Teams had built themselves to challenge the Bulls' old dominance. And standing at the top of that mountain, waiting to deny him, was the Seattle SuperSonics. Seattle was no ordinary opponent. Led by Gary Payton, the 1996 Defensive Player of the Year and one of the best perimeter defenders in NBA history, the SuperSonics had built their identity on suffocating defense. Payton, known as the Glove, was relentless. He talked trash. He got into his opponents' heads. He played defense with an aggression that broke weaker players. And beside him stood Shawn Kemp, a physical force unlike anything the league had seen. At 6'10" with freakish athleticism, Kemp didn't just dunk, he annihilated the rim. His power, speed, and explosiveness made him a nightmare for defenders. The Sonics weren't just a good team, they were dominant. They had won 64 games, had the second best defensive rating in the league, and were the 3rd fastest paced team. They overwhelmed opponents with their physicality. They weren't afraid of the Bulls. They weren't afraid of Michael Jordan. They should have been. Game 1. The finals tipped off in Chicago, and from the opening whistle, Jordan was on a mission. He came out attacking, setting the tone immediately. The Sonics tried to throw bodies at him, tried to slow him down, but nothing worked. Jordan picked them apart like a surgeon, cutting through their defense, hitting impossible mid-range shots, driving through traffic, and finishing at the rim. Payton tried to get physical, tried to intimidate him. It didn't matter. By the end of the night, Jordan had 27 points, and the Bulls had dismantled Seattle by 17 points. The message was clear. This was his finals, and he wasn't going to let anyone take it from him. Game 2, Seattle needed a response. They had to adjust, had to make Jordan uncomfortable. Payton ramped up the intensity, bumping him on every possession, grabbing at his jersey, talking nonstop. The Sonics fought hard, but Jordan thrived in chaos. He dropped 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists, torching the defense whenever he saw an opening. If they played him too tight, he'd drive to the rim. If they backed off, he'd hit his jumper. If they doubled, he found open teammates. The Sonics were scrambling, desperate to slow him down, but nothing worked. The Bulls took a 2-0 lead, and Seattle was running out of answers. Game 3. The series shifted to Seattle, and the Sonics were desperate. Their home crowd roared, willing them to fight back. This time, Shawn Kemp took matters into his own hands. He played like a man possessed, throwing down thunderous dunks, blocking shots, dominating the paint. But Jordan wasn't rattled. He had been here before. He had faced hostile crowds, faced physical defenders, faced elite competition. He didn't just respond. He took over. He dropped 36 points, hitting fadeaways over double teams, sinking contested jumpers, and finishing at the rim with ease. Every time Seattle thought they had him contained, he found another way to score. The Bulls took a commanding 3-0 lead, and Seattle was gasping for air. Game 4. With elimination staring them in the face, the Sonics fought for their lives. This was their last stand. They turned up the physicality, throwing elbows, pushing Jordan to the floor, making every possession a battle. Payton and Kemp played their most aggressive game yet. They combined for 46 points, making Chicago work for everything. And for the first time in the series, it worked. The Bulls struggled. Their shots weren't falling. Their usual composure cracked under Seattle's relentless pressure. The Sonics pulled off the upset, avoiding the sweep and giving themselves hope. Game 5. Seattle smelled blood. They knew if they could just win one more, the pressure would shift to Chicago. And so they played their best defensive game of the year. They held the Bulls to just 78 points, their lowest scoring game of the playoffs. Payton hounded Jordan, forcing tough shots. Kemp controlled the paint. The Sonics weren't just surviving, they were winning. Chicago had now lost 2 straight, and for the first time, doubt crept in. Was this team beatable? Could the Sonics actually pull off the impossible? Game 6, Jordan had had enough. The talk, the doubt, the physicality. He was done playing around. He wasn't about to let this go to Game 7. From the jump, he locked in. Every possession was precise. Every shot was calculated. The Sonics threw everything at him, but it didn't matter. Payton contested every jumper, but Jordan hit them anyway. Kemp protected the rim, but Jordan found a way through. And when Seattle doubled him, he found his teammates. He racked up 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, controlling the game from start to finish. When the final buzzer sounded, it was over. The Bulls were NBA champions. Jordan collapsed on the floor, overwhelmed with emotion. It was Father's Day, the first championship he had won since his father's passing. As he held the trophy, tears streamed down his face. This title meant more than just another ring. This was for him. Michael Jordan didn't just win another championship. He cemented his legacy. He reminded the world who he was. Gary Payton, the best perimeter defender in the league, gave everything he had, and Jordan torched him. Shawn Kemp, the most dominant power forward in the finals, played the best basketball of his life, and Jordan took everything from him. The Sonics were a great team, but they were no match for him. This wasn't just another title. It was the beginning of the greatest three-peat in NBA history. Michael Jordan wasn't back. He had never left. Was this Jordan's greatest finals performance? Or do you think another series defined his dominance even more? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love stories like this, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more legendary basketball moments. See you in the next one.